Welcome back to my channel, Pocket Change Coins. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're shining the spotlight on a true classic from the United States coin collection, the 1966 1-cent coin, commonly known as the 1966 Lincoln penny. Though it may seem like just another penny at first glance, this coin has some interesting history and collectible value that could surprise you. So, let's explore why this particular penny is so special and why collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. The 1966 Lincoln penny was minted during a very interesting time in U.S. history. It was a period marked by change and evolution, not just socially and politically, but also in the coinage industry. This penny carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, a design that has been a staple since 1909. The reverse features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing one of the greatest monuments dedicated to American values and unity. But the 1966 penny stands out due to several subtle but important characteristics that make it valuable. What truly makes the 1966 penny intriguing to collectors is its minting details and rarity, especially when it comes to certain varieties produced at the Denver Mint. During that year, production methods and material composition went through slight changes, and as a result, some coins were struck with variations in the metal alloy, weight, and even minor design differences that were not intentional but occurred during the minting process. These variations create opportunities for collectors to find unique examples that are worth more than their face value. One key feature that coin enthusiasts often look for in the 1966 penny is its condition. As with any collectible coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. Pennies that have been carefully preserved, showing no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, are incredibly rare, especially considering that pennies are often handled and circulated heavily. Collectors seek out coins in what's called mint state or uncirculated condition, where every detail of Lincoln's profile and the Lincoln Memorial is sharp and crisp. Another interesting aspect is the role professional grading services play in the coin's value. Coins that receive high grades for quality from grading companies can command much higher prices on the market. The grading process meticulously examines the coin's luster, strike, and surface condition, making it easier for collectors to assess authenticity and value without worry. The demand for the 1966 penny is also influenced by the fact that it represents a piece of mid-20th century America, a tangible connection to a transformative decade in U.S. history. Whether you are a history buff or a passionate collector, owning a high-quality 1966 penny feels like holding a small piece of the past. So, what is the actual market value of this coin? While most 1966 pennies in circulated condition might only be worth a few cents to a couple of dollars, an exceptional example with rare mint errors or perfect preservation can fetch an astonishing amount. At auction or through private sales, some of these highly sought-after 1966 pennies have been known to sell for over $100,000. Yes, you heard that right, $101,000 for a single 1-cent coin. This incredible price reflects not only the rarity and condition but also the passion of collectors worldwide who recognize the coin's historical and numismatic significance. If you happen to find a 1966 penny in near-perfect condition or with unusual characteristics, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Second rare coin, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the 1982 United States 1-cent coin, specifically the Denver Mint version. You might think it's just an ordinary penny, but believe me, this coin holds secrets and value that might surprise even seasoned collectors. So, settle in, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the 1982 penny is so much more than pocket change. The 1982 penny marks a unique moment in U.S. minting history. This was the year when the U.S. Mint made a significant transition in the composition of its 1-cent coins. For decades, pennies had been made primarily of copper, but due to rising copper prices and economic factors, the Mint decided to switch to a more cost-effective metal mix. The result? Two different types of pennies were produced that year, some still made from mostly copper and others from a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. this dual composition is where things get interesting and why collectors are so drawn to the 1982 D penny. Because both compositions were minted concurrently, it created an array of collectible varieties all within the same year and mint. Some pennies contain the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc, while others have a core of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. Identifying these variations can be tricky but rewarding, especially if you have an eye for detail. What makes the Denver Mint 1982 penny stand out even more is the rarity of certain variations. For instance, the zinc pennies are often lighter and thinner, while the copper ones are heavier and have a distinct feel. In addition, mint errors, such as double dies or off-center strikes, have been discovered within this year's production. These mint errors significantly increase the coin's desirability among collectors. Condition is another critical factor when it comes to the value of the 1982 D penny. Coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition fetch much higher prices than those worn from everyday use. The way light reflects off the copper plating or the sharpness of Lincoln's profile can make all the difference in determining value. High-grade examples from professional grading services are especially sought after. Collectors are also fascinated by the historical context of the 1982 penny. It symbolizes a turning point in minting technology and economic shifts in the early 1980s. Holding this coin is like holding a slice of American history, connecting you to the economic decisions that shaped everyday life. Now, let's talk numbers. While most 1982 pennies you find in circulation today are worth their face value or just a few cents at most, rare, high-grade examples with particular metal compositions or mint errors can command eye-opening prices. At auctions or in private sales, some of these exceptional 1982 Denver pennies have been known to sell for as much as $77,000, yes, that's right. $77,000 for a 1-cent coin. This astounding value reflects how rare and desirable the coin is among collectors, especially those who understand its unique place in U.S. minting history. So, if you ever come across a 1982 D penny that looks pristine or shows unusual characteristics, don't overlook it as just a common piece of change. It might just be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Third expensive coin, we're uncovering the story behind a truly fascinating piece of American currency, the 1963 United States 1-cent coin minted in Denver. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another penny, but don't be fooled. Beneath its modest appearance lies a rich history and a value that can astound even the most experienced collectors. So, stick around as we explore what makes the 1963 D penny so special and how much it could be worth to you. The 1963 penny was struck during a dynamic era in American history. It carries the image of President Abraham Lincoln, a design that has graced the penny since 1909 and remains one of the most iconic and enduring symbols on American coinage. This particular coin was minted at the Denver Mint, identifiable by the small d stamped near the date. What sets the 1963 D penny apart from many others is not just its age but the rarity of certain varieties and mint conditions. While millions were produced, only a few have survived in top condition due to the everyday wear and tear pennies typically endure. Collectors prize coins that retain their original luster, sharp details, and minimal signs of circulation. Another aspect that adds intrigue to the 1963 D penny is the subtle minting errors and varieties that can sometimes be found. These include small variations in the strike, such as double dies or minor misalignments. Such errors increase the coin's value considerably because they are much rarer than perfectly struck coins. For the serious collector, these varieties are like finding hidden gems. Moreover, the 1963 D penny reflects a period when pennies were still primarily made of copper, consisting of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition contributes to the coin's distinct weight and appearance compared to the newer pennies that are mostly zinc. The copper content alone can attract collectors and investors, especially in times when metal values fluctuate. When considering the value of the 1963 D penny, condition plays a crucial role. A penny that has been carefully preserved in a mint state, exhibiting a bright copper sheen and crisp details, will naturally command a premium price. On the other hand, those that have circulated heavily tend to remain worth just their face value or slightly more. Interestingly, certain 1963 pennies with specific errors or exceptional quality have made headlines in the numismatic world for fetching thousands of dollars at auction. These coins represent not just currency but pieces of history and craftsmanship. Now, if you're wondering just how much a top-tier 1963 penny can be worth, you might be surprised. Collectors have been known to pay as much as $120,000 for rare, mint-condition examples. That's right, $120,000 for a coin that might still be sitting unnoticed in a pocket or coin jar somewhere. This staggering value shows just how much the world of coin collecting can reward patience, knowledge, and a keen eye for detail. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or just someone curious about coins, the 1963 Denver 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how everyday objects can become prized treasures. Especially, we're diving deep into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but hides a remarkable story and impressive value, the United States 1-cent coin from 1976. This particular penny is more than just a small copper disc, it's a piece of history, art, and a potential goldmine for collectors around the world. So, get comfortable, because we're about to uncover everything you need to know about this fascinating coin and just how much it could be worth. The 1976 penny comes from a unique period in American history. The nation was celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years since the Declaration of Independence. While the 1976 penny itself didn't get the special bicentennial design that was reserved for quarters, halves, and dollars, it remains a key piece of that era. Featuring the ever-iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, this coin perfectly captures the spirit of tradition meeting a modern era. What makes the 1976 penny particularly interesting is the number of coins minted that year, as well as the varieties and mint marks associated with them. The coin was produced at several mints, including Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, marked with AD, and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Denver Mint version is especially notable for collectors because of certain rare errors and higher quality strikes that occasionally appear. If you've been collecting pennies for a while or even just getting started, you might know that condition is king. The 1976 penny, like many others, can range from heavily worn in circulation to pristine uncirculated examples with full original luster. Collectors prize these uncirculated or proof versions, as their crisp detail and bright surfaces make them stand out. Another fascinating detail about the 1976 penny is its composition. It was still primarily made of copper back then, 95% copper and 5% zinc, before the U.S. Mint switched to a mostly zinc core with just a thin copper plating in the early 1980s. This heavier copper content not only gives the coin a distinct feel but also makes it more appealing to metal enthusiasts and investors. There are also some known minting errors from 1976 pennies that significantly boost their value. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, or other anomalies that are very rare and highly sought after. If you happen to own one of these error coins, you're holding a collector's gem. When we talk about the value of the 1976 penny, it's important to understand that most circulated coins are worth just their face value, 1 cent. But if your coin is uncirculated, in mint condition, or even better, a rare error coin, its value rises dramatically. In fact, some examples of the 1976 penny have sold for astounding amounts at auction, particularly those in flawless mint state or with unique characteristics. Serious collectors have been known to pay upwards of $80,000 for an exceptional specimen of this coin. Imagine, a humble 1-cent coin from 1976 potentially being worth $80,000, a figure that sounds unbelievable but is very real in the numismatic world. This underscores the power of rarity, condition, and history coming together to create something truly valuable. So next time you find a 1976 penny in your change, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, inspect it carefully, and you might just be holding a small piece of history that could make you a very lucky collector. Next coin, we're going to explore one of the most intriguing coins from the early 1980s, the United States 1-cent coin from 1981, minted in Denver. This little penny might seem like your everyday pocket change, but behind its modest copper facade lies a fascinating story, rare characteristics, and a potential value that could surprise you. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just curious about what makes certain coins special, this deep dive will give you plenty to think about. the 1981 Denver penny is part of the Lincoln cent series, a design that has been a staple of American coinage for over a century. Featuring the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, this coin represents more than just currency, it's a symbol of American heritage and resilience. But unlike many pennies minted that year, the 1981 D penny has caught the attention of collectors worldwide due to its unique minting details and the increasing scarcity of high-grade examples. One important factor to remember is that the early 1980s were a time of transition for the penny's composition. In 1981, pennies were still made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, just like those from decades before. This is significant because copper pennies are often more desirable to collectors and metal enthusiasts alike, especially as later pennies switched to primarily zinc with only a thin copper coating. This copper content gives the 1981 D penny a bit of extra heft and a richer color, making it instantly recognizable compared to its modern counterparts. When it comes to collecting, condition is everything. Most 1981 D pennies that are found in circulation today show significant wear, scratches, discoloration, and dullness from decades of handling. However, uncirculated and proof versions from that year are where the real excitement lies. These coins boast sharp details, pristine surfaces, and the kind of eye-catching luster that makes collectors' hearts beat faster. Beyond just condition, certain 1981 D pennies have become highly sought after because of specific mint errors or unusual die varieties. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, or variations in the mint mark that are incredibly rare. Finding one of these error coins is like striking gold, or rather, copper, and can drastically increase a coin's value. For everyday collectors, the 1981 D penny might not seem all that rare, but the truth is that the number of high-quality specimens available is declining. As time passes, more pennies wear down or get lost, making mint condition examples increasingly scarce. This natural scarcity, combined with the historical significance and composition, helps push the value of this coin upward in the collector market. Now, let's talk numbers. While a typical circulated 1981 D penny might be worth just its face value, a pristine uncirculated example or one with a rare error can fetch an astonishing price. Serious collectors and investors have been known to pay as much as $70,000 for an exceptional specimen of this coin. Yes, $70,000, that's right, $70,000 for a coin that once circulated quietly in your pocket. This kind of value shows how much numismatics blends history, rarity, and art to create real treasure out of what might look like a simple 1-cent coin. So, next time you come across a 1981 D penny, take a moment to examine it carefully. You might just be holding a hidden gem worth far more than you ever imagined. Now, we're diving deep into the world of one of America's most iconic and collectible coins, the United States 1-cent coin from 1970, minted in Denver. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny, but as we peel back the layers, you'll discover the rich history, intriguing details, and surprising value that make this coin truly special. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply love stories about hidden treasures, this video is packed with information that will keep you hooked till the very end. The 1970 D penny is part of the beloved Lincoln cent series, which has been an enduring emblem of American currency since 1909. Featuring the ever-recognizable profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, these pennies are more than just pocket change, they are miniature pieces of American history. But what makes the 1970 Denver Mint penny stand out from the crowd? Let's start with the context of the era and the coin's physical characteristics. During 1970, the United States was transitioning in many ways, and so was its coinage. The 1970 penny is composed mainly of copper, specifically 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that collectors highly value because of its durability, appearance, and rarity compared to later zinc-heavy pennies. This copper content not only gives the coin its distinctive reddish-brown color but also a weight and feel that's noticeably different from modern pennies, which are mostly zinc. What elevates the 1970 D penny to collectors' stardom is a combination of factors. One major reason is the relatively low mintage compared to other years, especially for coins that remain in mint condition. Over the decades, many pennies from 1970 have worn down, been lost, or damaged. This natural attrition makes well-preserved examples highly sought after by collectors, especially those graded as uncirculated or proof quality. Collectors also pay close attention to subtle details like mint marks and any unusual characteristics or errors during the minting process. Some 1970D pennies exhibit rare die variations, such as double dies or slight differences in the placement and size of the mint mark, which can add a significant premium to the coin's value. These small variations make each coin a unique piece of history and a potential treasure waiting to be discovered in a collection, or even in your pocket. But what about the value? You might wonder, how much could a 1970D penny be really worth? In everyday circulation, a 1970D penny is just worth 1 cent. But in the world of collectors, condition is king. An uncirculated 1970D penny, especially one with a flawless surface and sharp details, can fetch a price far beyond its face value. In fact, such a coin can command thousands of dollars at auction or in private sales. What really blows minds, however, is when you come across a 1970D penny that also has an error or is in exceptional condition graded by professional services. Coins like these have been known to reach astonishing prices. Collectors who understand the rarity and historical significance are willing to pay up to $90,000 for one of these rare gems. Yes, $90,000, that's $90,000 for a penny minted more than 5 decades ago. It's a powerful reminder that in the numismatic world, even the smallest coin can hold incredible value, telling stories of craftsmanship, history, and rarity. So next time you find a penny from 1970 with a tiny D stamped on it, take a closer look. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hand, a piece of American history that's worth much more than just 1 cent. Last unique coin, we're exploring a fascinating coin that you might overlook in your everyday change, the United States 1 cent coin from 2012. While it looks just like any ordinary penny at first glance, this small coin holds a story and value that might surprise you. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting to discover the thrill of numismatics, stick around because this coin's history and worth will definitely catch your attention. The 2012 penny belongs to the Lincoln Cent series, which has been a staple of American currency for over a century. Featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the front and the Union Shield on the back, this design was introduced in 2010 to replace the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The shield symbolizes President Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single, united nation, a powerful image packed into such a tiny piece of metal. What sets the 2012 penny apart is more than just its design. It was minted during a time when pennies were primarily made from zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This composition makes it lighter than earlier pennies, but it also means that certain varieties and errors from this year have become particularly collectible. One interesting fact about 2012 pennies is the appearance of rare minting errors. These errors might include double strikes, off-center strikes, or variations in the copper plating, which make some coins incredibly rare and highly desirable for collectors. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in 2012, but those with these rare mistakes stand out as true collector's items. When it comes to value, most 2012 pennies are worth just 1 cent in everyday transactions. However, condition is everything in coin collecting. A 2012 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth more than face value, especially if it displays one of those rare mint errors. Coin grading plays a huge role here. Coins graded by professional services as flawless or nearly perfect can command much higher prices on the collector's market. Collectors and investors alike seek out these special coins because they represent a snapshot of minting history, craftsmanship, and sometimes a rare error that makes the coin unique. If you happen to find a 2012 penny that's perfectly preserved, or better yet, one with a known error or variation, you could be looking at a surprisingly valuable piece. Believe it or not, some of these special 2012 pennies have sold for impressive sums, with prices reaching as high as $15,000. That's right, $15,000 for a coin you might usually pass over without a second glance. So next time you come across a 2012 penny, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding more than pocket change, you could be holding a rare and valuable piece of modern American coinage history. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the United States 1 cent coin from 2012. If you enjoyed learning about this coin's unique story and potential worth, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more fascinating coin content. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your collections growing. You never know when your next treasure will show up.